Hi everyone, and welcome to our next video in our series on how to boost your grade in the composing section of paper 1. In the last video we looked at the mark scheme for this section of the paper and specifically why it's important for you to be able to use punctuation in order to control your writing. Let's take a quick look at that again. So the section that we're focusing on is the composing section, where you've 7 choices and you compose a piece of writing in response to one of them. A lot of students go into this section thinking that you can't prepare for it, you can't learn off anything because you don't know what the questions will be. It's not like the poetry or the single text. Fortunately, there are loads of things that you can do to improve your grade, and that means improving your writing first. We're going to look at one simple thing now. Here you can see the mark scheme for last year's paper, the 2019 paper, for question 1 and question 2 and for question 3. So this is the guidance to the people marking your exams, and as you can see there are some small differences for each question, but 2 things remain the same throughout, and that is L and M. Language and mechanics. It's worth focusing on these 2 in detail for a moment. So L is quality and control of language and includes things such as vocabulary, syntax, which is the order of your words, as well as punctuation. M is mechanics, and this means accuracy. Are there errors in your writing? Have you used apostrophes correctly, for example? Are there sentence formulation mistakes? So across all 7 questions, what the examiner is looking for under L and M, worth 40% of your overall mark for the question, by the way, is very similar. There will be some important differences in how you use language for a speech versus how you would use it in a short story, but simply in terms of mechanics like punctuation, there are general things we can improve that will work across all questions. So the last video looked at using the semicolon, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to use the colon correctly and to create the biggest impact possible in your writing. The colon is a simple piece of punctuation, but like its cousin the semicolon, it's misunderstood and it's often used incorrectly. A colon is used in a number of ways, and when you use it correctly, it is impressive to examiners. The most common way a colon is used is to introduce a list of items. For example, I was sent to the shop for 3 things: butter, milk, and eggs. However, the mistake that most people make is writing the sentence like this: I was sent to the shop for butter, milk, and eggs, and putting the colon after the word for. This is incorrect, because there has to be an independent clause, a standalone sentence that makes sense on its own on at least one side of the colon. In this case, I was sent to the shop for does not make sense on its own. I was sent to the shop for 3 things does. Think to yourself, if I put a full stop at the end of this collection of words, will it make sense on its own? Another way we use semicolons, Another way we use colons is similar to the semicolon, to link 2 independent clauses where one relies on the other to give more information or to explain it. For example, time is running out to make a decision. The exams are supposed to start in 8 weeks. On their own, both clauses, both groups of words, either side of the colon, make sense on their own grammatically. Time is running out, you could put a full stop at the end of that. The exams are supposed to start in 8 weeks, you could put a full stop at the end of that on its own as well. So you can use the colon to separate 2 standalone independent clauses where one helps the other to make more sense. The second clause here, the exams are supposed to start in 8 weeks, makes it clear why time is running out. Another way we use colons is similar to the semicolon, to link 2 independent clauses where one relies on the other to give more information or to explain it. For example, time is running out to make a decision. The exams are supposed to start in 8 weeks. On their own, both clauses, both groups of words either side of the colon here, make sense on their own. They are grammatically correct. If we wanted to, we could put a full stop there. Time is running out to make a decision, full stop. The exams are supposed to start in 8 weeks, full stop. The second clause here, though, makes it clear why time is running out, and it also hints at what that decision might be about. So these 2 standalone sentences need each other in a way. They, not grammatically, they're correct grammatically, but in order to make it clear to your reader. And this is what we were talking about in terms of the control over language. So a colon can be used here because these 2 sentences work together. They are not completely separate. Grammatically, they can make sense alone, but they're not entirely separate. So if we look at it in terms of those 2 clauses and break them up into green and blue, time is running out. The exams are supposed to start in 8 weeks. It makes it clear visually that these 2 sentences are linked together. The last way of using a colon, I think, is the most powerful. As we've seen from the mark scheme, the marks available in language and mechanics centers around your control over language, your sentence construction, and your use of punctuation. And this way of using a colon that we're going to look at now is an example of all 3 of those things. So this way that we're going to use the colon is all about emphasis. Just like the previous ways, one side of the colon must have a standalone sentence or an independent clause that makes sense on its own. I want you to imagine that you're writing the speech or article question from the exam. You're writing a speech about climate change and the environment. You write a sentence like this: "Not doing anything is a big threat to our environment." Well, let's look at how we might improve a sentence like that. We could change it to say, "The only thing worse than doing the wrong thing when it comes to climate change is doing nothing." Now, this is a slightly better sentence because the sentence is set up to emphasize the ending, and there's a link here between the wrong thing and nothing. So it's a stronger sentence than the previous one. But you could use a colon for emphasis here. You could say, "There is only one thing about climate change that poses a greater risk to our planet than anything else: inaction." The first part of the sentence, up to the colon, is a standalone sentence that makes sense independently, but all of it builds up to a single word: inaction. It's a powerful way of structuring your sentence to create the biggest impact on your reader. I hope that you found this video useful. Please subscribe to the channel, like and leave a comment, and do come back to see more ways that you can improve your writing in English in the weeks to come.